Today is the 11th day of February 2015, and we are here with Barbara from Auroville. Welcome, Barbara.
Welcome.
And we usually begin by asking people how they first heard of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. Can you tell us that
Yes,
story?
I can. Yeah, for me it was, I did not hear, it was in a bookshop. And so I was looking in a bookshop, and then I saw the book of Sri Aurobindo. It was in Germany, and it was the Synthesis and the Divine Life. And immediately I was caught by something. And because I was interested in yoga already, but at that time I had a different view. And the picture of Sri Aurobindo, which was on the front side of the book, it was a bit different to what I was used to. And so I looked at it and I could not really understand it, what I saw. And then I bought the books, and then I took them home. And that was the first contact with Sri Aurobindo. I read the lines, and then I could not really understand because I found the sentence a bit long. So I thought, shorter sentence maybe would be better. But then after half an hour or so, I realized that I saw the things. And it was very exact what I saw, and then I read the sentence again. Yeah, and then I saw, aha, it works like that. So this was my first impression from Sri Aurobindo.
How do you mean you saw?
I had it above the head.
What was
The
it?
vibration and the vision. It was very, I had no, I just did not understand the sentence. And then half an hour later or so, I suddenly saw the whole thing, what he has written. And then it was very interesting for me because it was very exact what I saw. And that was the first time that later I understood. He writes in a mantric language. So it is the experience comes like that. But
and what year was this, Barbara? What year was this?
Oh, it was probably when I was about 30 years old. And then it was 70s.
70s.
Yes, a little bit, yes.
Beginning of Auroville.
Yes. It was at that time.
Yes.
And then in 79, I was the first time in Auroville. Yeah.
So you were living and working in Germany,
Yes.
and you started reading the books.
Yeah, it was like that, I must say, I had from the beginning of my life, I had experiences of the Shakti, what one calls the Shakti. And I had it mainly in nature, and when I was alone, and then I knew that everything what is alive is done by the Shakti. So I saw something from behind, what really is the grace of everything, and mainly in nature it was easy for me to experience that. And so then later professionally I started psychosomatics and also physiotherapy because I wanted to do something with the body also. And but then I knew very quickly that I was not interested in that exactly. And then it was the yoga which came. And at that time, when I was, it was at that time when I also found then the books of Sri Aurobindo. And then I must say, my experience was very good. But at the same time, my memory was a little bit different of what I somehow memorized of Indian yoga. And I had another impression. It was more of the soul, of the luminosity. And sometimes when I saw pictures of Indian gurus or so, then I could recognize something. And then later, a bit later, I got also a connection to an Indian guru, Kriya Yogi, who was, one can say, who had realized the soul, and he was teaching these kind of things. And that was the first contact which I looked for, but Sri Aurobindo was always there. And he was also connected to Sri Aurobindo, because he knew that Sri Aurobindo is the future, so to say, from our point of view. But I was more busy with the past, and what was coming from the past and what is also necessary for the future. Now I can say it like this, but at that time I was just experiencing what happened to me. And with this teacher, I had a strong relationship for 6 to 8 years.
In the 60s?
It was, when was it? Yeah, that is always a bit difficult
Yeah,
now to remember these
I
things.
Yes.
That was 60s, I was 63, no, 73, no, 79 it was, 79 I was in Auroville. And in the moment I don't remember exactly how it was.
But it was before 79?
It started, I think, a bit before 79, and it went into the 80s. This is sure now. And yeah.
So then you left Germany to come to Auroville?
Yeah, I must say also, before, when I was a child, I must say it also, because that was the main thing also, I always saw a different world. It was a luminous world and in a tropical climate. That was, and I was in northern Germany, it was more gray and raining and things like that. And also with all different nations, all different kinds of people were there. And this was my inner experience of the Earth's life.
It was a world that you were seeing?
Completely, yeah. It was life, what I was seeing. And when I was a child, because it was tropical, I thought this is Africa. And then I wanted always to go to Africa. I was a very small child when I had this thing. But this thing, I have to go to Africa, stayed with me. So when I went to Africa, I was also about 30 years old. And it was at that time what happened to me that I came to South Africa, which was an apartheid system, and we know what was happening there. And then I found that Africa, what I see, is very different to what was in the world, what I was encountering. And then, but the impression of the Shakti was enormous in Africa. But it was the Shakti in nature. And it was very, very strong. And then I knew, from that moment on, I knew I must really do the yoga. One cannot do anything else anymore. And therefore also I started to mix my professional stuff, which I was not really feeling good with the yoga. And then this yogi came. Yeah, and so my work was then always accompanied by what I learned from yoga.
And this was in Germany?
That was in Germany. I had my own practice at that time, and so I could I could find out how I want to work. And that was very good for some while. But at the same time, what was always missing, that I was in a city and I wanted to live really on earth, so to say, and not in a society where everything is pre-organized. And so for the working period was good somehow, but I knew that I cannot forever do that. Yeah.
And when did you first hear about Mother?
What with Mother was connected with Sri Aurobindo, very strongly. I saw that. And both, the expressions of both of them, I saw immediately that they had a very different kind of expression to the traditional yogis. And I wondered, what is this exactly? And from the traditional yoga, I was really getting a lot, but at the same time I knew that something is missing. So I knew it immediately, and it was, when I express it, it was that I got a lot of joy and also memories, but I found it not, what is it? Yeah, it was not detailed enough. Because I found that, for example, cosmic consciousness or what is something, what is there, I could appreciate that, but for me, I saw that they also, for example, the different masters did not really know what the other masters do. So, and I found that a bit funny, that I think there is something missing when it's specialization. So each one said, yes, I have the way to God, and I could appreciate also their ways. But I found when one does not know more what the other ones do, or more also all the activities of each being, then something is missing. And that became very obvious for me. And then I really started to read Sri Aurobindo. But I was already prepared from the yoga, from the traditional side. And then I was so relieved with Sri Aurobindo because I found exactly what I was looking for. It was like that, because he is so detailed. And I knew that something like this, otherwise it's not really enough. And yeah, and then I started really I left the other one, the teacher, and then I started to really go fully with Sri Aurobindo, and I was good prepared already. And then I started with the synthesis of yoga, and I was relieved. Everything was there.
What other books did you read at that time of Sri Aurobindo?
Yeah, all, I can say.
All?
Yeah, because I was really interested. Maybe not everything to the end, but I read because it was really the thing what I wanted to do.
The books were available in German or in English?
They were both. I could. It was also from Auroville. There were people in Germany, in Munich. I was in Munich, and they brought the books and sold them there from the ashram. So I could have the originals, and that was it then.
So then you decided to move?
No.
Not
yeah.
In 79?
No. In 79 I came to Auroville.
For a visit?
Yeah, to visit. Okay. Yeah, to visit. And I loved the place very much. And but somehow it was not. I was not ready to go there. And then what happened? I went to Spain, but the time is a little bit. I have not that all clear now. But there was a moment when I did not want to stay in the city anymore, and I also knew that I cannot stay anymore. And then, at that time, my husband and me, we went to an island in Spain. And the thing was, we wanted to try if one can just live according to one's intuitions. And for me, it was very important, for him also, but for me, I think more, to live really on the earth, not in the city. And so we found a place also, and there we could have our own garden and things like that. And that worked very well, because what I wanted to find out, to have a place where all the different levels of one can say, of the vertical life are there. And then on the horizontal level, the beings who live there in nature and other beings. So if one can just live like that, and I was influenced much from Auroville, but I did it individually. And that was also a good time, and we could live very well there, and many people also were coming, and then were other friends coming and also took a piece of land and things like that. So it was for 8 years there.
Oh.
Yes. And there Sri Aurobindo took completely over, Sri Aurobindo and Mother. And I had all the books and the music and all that, but I thought it was for me at that time that I enter into that. But it was not only for me. They pressed me very strongly because people asked me about yoga. And yeah, I thought Sri Aurobindo's yoga, now I am starting with it, is only for me. But then they pressed that I do group work. And because I had the music and the tapes and things of Mother, so we did that there. And that was very good also. But after 8 years, I knew now on this island that's over. Yes, the individual stuff is done. It was individually, even if we were a little community sometimes and things like that, but it was, each one did his individual life. And then it was really over for me, and I knew I cannot do it anymore anywhere. And then Sri Aurobindo said, and now you go to Auroville. He said very clearly, yeah. I wondered before why I am always in the West still. Because my interest was to go somewhere else, and Auroville was always with me. But I knew also Auroville, it was not the moment or something. And I wondered, why have I to be in the West? What is this? But I felt that my concentration was on the place where I was, and these 8 years were also very good, and it was strong also connected to Auroville, because our place was going to the east, and it was on a hill, and then there was only the ocean in front, and so I always had the feeling that I got the vibration of Matrimandir very strong, much stronger than even now when I am in Auroville since 20 years. It was very strong for me. And in that sense, it was undisturbed. Here we know in Auroville, all the quarrels and things, what comes up. There, it was just the Matrimandir. So, in that sense, it was a beautiful time there, and what I tried to find out, if one can really live that, just the vertical levels with all the different potentials down to the earth, and then the environment, which is on the horizontal levels. And somehow it was very good experience. But then it was over. Then I knew that was for that moment, I had to do that. But also then I thought, yeah, what now? And then it was the first time that I could see, because it was like this, as if here in the third eye, something, and I knew it was the hand of Sri Aurobindo, it made a thing like that, and I could no more concentrate on the island. So, and that now you go to Auroville. And then I was relatively very happy to go to Auroville, and because it was really now the moment. I had finished the other things, and so I was very ready to go to Auroville. Yeah, and then, but when I thought about it afterwards, then I thought, oh my God, what shall I do in Auroville? I did not know what I shall do in Auroville, because I knew it already. I was several times there,
and
now in between.
What about your husband?
He was the same. With my husband, it was always like this. We changed often places. And we were always at the same time ready, without speaking to each other, to go. That was perfect all the time. So I waited and see what what was happening to him. I did not say anything. And sometime later he said, I think now we are finished here. I said, yes, now we are finished here. And then it was clear also. So then...
What to do in Auroville?
Yeah, what to do in Auroville. And my vision was, because I knew it, I said, oh my God, such a small point in the world, and such a small point also in India. And then these people, because I know that they say all the time what one has to do, and I thought it does not fit to me so much. And and then I thought, yeah, and then India from the past, I had very good experiences. But how it is now, and then this little, it was always this small point of Auroville. What is this? What can I do there?
What, approximately what year did you move to Auroville?
When?
Yes, when?
It was in 96. And yeah, and then I asked Sri Aurobindo, the question was very strong from my side. Yeah, and then in the night I was suddenly awake, but not quite fully. I was in my room, I knew where I was, but at the same time there was so much presence of Sri Aurobindo and Mother, very, very strong. And then it was like this, that he was guiding, and somehow we were going into the universal part, and the universal not consciousness, we were going in the universe, and the universal consciousness was very strong, but very strong as a presence of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. And what I felt then in the consciousness, I said, yeah, when it is like that, I can go everywhere. And and then we went higher and higher, and I saw that also in the universe, some star systems, they were also changing, the new things. I had experiences of the light and the light vibrations, and this told me, yeah, new things are coming. But this I have forgotten afterwards. I cannot remember, because that was, in the moment it was there, but it was not really important. So it was that this vastness everywhere and the full presence, and it was perfect somehow.
You spoke to Sri Aurobindo?
No, it was only consciousness.
Only consciousness.
It was all going through the consciousness. And then it went down again, and I landed in Repo Beach, and I was suddenly again on the earth, what I like to be. And then it was all luminous. It were the elements, we know, the beach there, and the water, and the air, and the sun, and the luminosity of the elements. And then there was the white city of Pondicherry. I saw it white, and it was just more the soul experience. And then there was a wave, and an empty shell was rolling over the sand, and that message was, the body is like an empty shell. Okay, and that was it. That was the answer at that time, but as experience. It was a strong experience, and so, and with that I was very happy, that because that is mainly what I want to do. I want to become, and I want to be, and live from there. And so then I was sure I can go. And so, and then I went, or we went, my husband and me, and then we came in, we started in Auroville. We bought a piece of land for Auroville, we sold our place we had there, so we could buy another piece of land for Auroville. And then we started a community there, because also people from the island who also were with us at that time, they also wanted to come.
Oh.
And yeah, and then we started with our community is Ritam.
Ritam.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, that was the name we gave. And yeah, and now I am at Ritam.
And what are you doing now?
I am
what
doing
have you been doing all these years?
all these years, yeah. It's always, my life is like this, that always people are coming. And because I have the training of a therapist, I can work like that. But I do it not like a therapist. It's not for me interesting. For me, I want to live it. I want to live what yoga is. And so my life is more an expression of what I live. But then people come, and because I am trained also, so I can, yeah, they come and then I do. Now I would call it consciousness and energy work on the basis of integral yoga from Sri Aurobindo and Mother. And that I do since 20 years.
I see.
Yes. And first it was like this, that everybody said we don't need it and this and that, but then I said I do green work. It was very easy. And I said, yeah, I do green work, and you do green work, and yeah.
I'm very interested in your experience with the earth.
Yes.
Can you speak about
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Yeah, for me, I have a strong connection to the earth and to the subtle earth. It's mainly the subtle earth by which and it's also the body and the subtle body. And so I see many things which are very beautiful in matter. But it is not yet realized. One can also see all the other things. So for me, the integral yoga is very important. And I am very, very happy because I know that it is a very strong privilege to have a master like Sri Aurobindo and Mother, because they are really connected to the evolution of the earth, from the beginning of the earth. So they give all the details, what is necessary for this moment, what was in the past of the earth, and what will come. So this is also something what for me is main interest. Yeah, and in the other yogas I could see that it was not like that. The earth was not so important.
Yes, yes.
And for me it's very much important.
Yes.
And so and because I had that also from the beginning, and I love animals, I love nature, I love to be with human beings, and also now the transformation, which is so important. Many people have difficulties now, they think nothing works and it's all is a chaos and da-da-da-dum. And then to work these things out, that is, yeah. So I feel good with everything.
And the Matrimandiya chamber?
Yeah, the Matrimandiya chamber, I go there, but I'm not regularly going to Matrimandiya. I'm very happy that Matrimandiya is there, and that it is really the center and the soul of Auroville, but it is not for me necessary to go there so often, because I do it in my place, in my garden. I have everything also there, and when I have the feeling I must go to Matrimandiya, then I go.
And do you come to the ashram?
Yeah, in the beginning I came very often to the ashram because I needed the vibrational field. Now when our place is also good, it was not in the beginning. It was a place where you had to, there was no tree and nothing, and you had to put everything. So then I was very happy to go to the ashram. Now it's also very good for me in Auroville. And I have friends in the ashram, so I go.
Have you known some of the older ashramites?
Yes, sure. Yes, they were still alive when I came. Nirod Baran and
So you met him?
Yes, yes.
And did you have anything to say about him?
Yeah, for me it was, I had not so much a personal contact with him, but with the darshans, and so I saw them very often, and for me it was really very, very beautiful, the atmosphere at that time. Yes.
And how do you feel the atmosphere in Auroville now?
Yeah, I feel the atmosphere is chaotic, the outer atmosphere from all sides, and but that is not very much disturbing me, because I know that after the democracy, and I think they break everywhere, the systems break, chaos is coming. And out of the chaos, we can, if we are creative and truly creative, the real thing will come. So Sri Aurobindo called it anarchy and divine anarchy. And I think it is, this moment has started. It's very chaotic, but it means also it is a creative moment. So everything is ready to evolve, and there's a lot of light now everywhere, which wants to go into the future. I think one can feel it, that the future comes nearer, so to say. And in that sense, I feel very good also in the chaos, because I'm not disturbed by it. And that is mainly now also my function. So many people Aurovillians come to me because they feel very disturbed and very uncomfortable, yeah, and then...
In your experience with gardening, raising vegetables and all, have you had contact with some of these spirits?
I have not so much contact with the spirits. I have sometimes, for me, it's the beauty and the grace of the Mother, the Shakti. All the beings and everything. I love how everything is made. For example, the beauty of leaves and trees and everything. And India has beautiful plants and beautiful light, and it's very good.
Well, this has been really wonderful to have you here. And I'd like to ask you about your vision of the future, next 10 or 20 years.
10 or 20 years, a short vision.
Yes.
My vision is that the light becomes stronger, and that whatever comes up, the light is there for that. And if we look to the light, then we are able to be stronger than the difficulties. If we don't look to the light, and the light of Sri Aurobindo and Mother, then it can become difficult. But if we look to the light and live that, it may be hard, uncomfortable or whatever, but it will work.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Good. That was it?
If you have anything more, we would
No,
love to hear.
I stopped.